Make sure... Oh, no, 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 you went into the torpedoes! That was the dumbest torpedo evasion I've ever seen. Hey guys, Quicksilver Gaming here, bringing you another episode of Ultimate Admiral Dreadnoughts. This is the Italian campaign, and we are at war with the British Empire. Things are going pretty well. It is November 1935. We haven't had an engagement in quite a while, but England is invading what I believe is Libya, Cyrenaica. Pardon me if I am incorrect there. I would like to point out that we are invading Malta, and even though I've added 2 more ships to this invasion, our chance to succeed went down. And I've noticed this in previous gameplays, that this number seems to be arbitrary, so I'm not exactly sure what all goes into this. I might just move this big giant fleet a little bit closer to Malta, see if that makes any difference, but I added 2 battle cruisers, and as I said, that percent change went down, so unsure about that, but nothing interesting is happening at the moment. We are still doing fairly well on our finances. Of course, our naval budget increases dramatically while we're at war. As far as our fleet, we have a couple ships repairing, nothing major, lots of ships on sea control, in being, and then some of our smaller ships like our destroyers are on defend, because I don't necessarily want them going out and attacking enemy fleets. They're pretty terrible. As far as our refits, all of those have been completed. I did find an issue with one of my ships that I need to change in between battles, or maybe later on when I refit it. And as far as politics, you know, our growth is okay, our GDP is looking good. And then, oh, China's not happy with us. A lot of the world's not happy with us, except for the Soviet Union, who were most displeased with us taking Montenegro. But that's it for this turn, and I will come back when something more interesting is happening. I thought I would show this one off, as I haven't encountered this before, but we don't have a defense against the enemy. We do have 2 destroyers here, but I have them on defend, although it's a little odd that they aren't defending when this is a port strike. But it looks like the light cruiser Amphion is attacking 5 of our transport ships. Maybe I'll take my destroyers off of defend in this area and see, but there's a lot of enemy warships in the West Indian Ocean and the Arabian Sea, so it's a little bit scary. I'm assuming that this will just be an auto-resolve, and we probably lost 5... Oh, they only sink 1 transport? I'll take that. Port damage to Mogadishu. Interesting. So I will need to look at that and see if I can do anything down in this area of the world. And then Germany is attacking Poland. They're about 4 years early, but funny enough, the correct nations are pissed off about this, so very interesting. February 1936, and the British Empire is desperately asking for peace once again. I am going to agree to this just because they are invading Libya very strongly. And what's better than a parting gift before the war ends, if it even ends indeed? This is really even right here. I am absolutely amazed at how even this battle is. We've seen that their light cruisers are better than our light cruisers, but our heavy cruiser is much better than their heavy cruiser. I'm unsure about destroyers. We have slightly larger guns. They have... Actually, we have more torpedoes because we have 2 3-deck torpedo tubes, whereas they have 1... Oh wait, no. Math is really hard, people. Math is really hard. So they have more torpedoes too. So let's dive right into a battle. Alright, folks, I have put all of our ships on torpedo evasion since the enemy seems to have a metric boatload of torpedoes. We'll pop this on to ×10 and then see what the enemy fleet is doing. A good old crash there. I've said this before, I wish that they would fix the crashes. This is our primary target for our cruiser, so we will shift this direction. Might as well the major maneuver out the way. Large maneuvers do affect your aiming progression, so that is something to consider. We are pretty far away. Our guns, I believe their optimal range is somewhere under 10,000 meters, which puts us into harm's way of torpedoes. Actually, just our gun's max range seems to be the British max range on their torpedoes anyways. As far as which ship we are shooting, it is this one. I believe that is the correct target. Very strange design. I will say the AI designs are better. That looks like he just launched torpedoes, so I will probably make a course correction and probably flatten out a little instead of a very aggressive angle on the enemy. Those ships are closing in. Really, these ships should be the better target, but our aiming progression is jumping quite well. On Reddit, a user made a comment about stereoscopic versus coincidence. At these gun ranges, stereoscopic is the 100% correct call. I do have coincidence finders on my cruisers, battle cruisers, and destroyers, where I have stereoscopic on my battleships, and that's generally because these ships get in close for a brawl, but the stereoscopic might be better on my cruisers, battle cruisers, and battleships. That's probably something I will change up in the future, at least with refits or new builds. I'm actually going to change my fire. I know that takes away all of my aiming progression, but these are really close. They're under 10,000. That's sort of our optimal range where our percentages are a little bit better. Our secondary guns are also blasting away. A major hit on that destroyer, at least I believe it is a destroyer, and we hit it in the rudder. We also fired a spread of torpedoes. I don't know if any of those will hit, but that ship is taking a beating. There's some torpedoes in the distance. When I made that course correction, I think that's what that was. I'm just going to make a slight course correction here. I would like to completely take these ships out. There's a torpedo launch. I am going to change my speed a little, as that feels like it is very far out. And that torpedo actually looks a little bit more dangerous. And there's one torpedo that I missed, but it looks like we turned just in time. So this is a major course correction, and my guns need to traverse around and re-engage the target. We're really struggling at hitting this destroyer. Our main guns are way off. Our secondaries look like they're doing alright. That was a massive hit to the superstructure of that destroyer, and it just obliterated. Okay, my ships really aren't screening. I'm going to change them to AI on. I might actually move my... We're going to change that. We are going to have them follow me. We are going to turn away from these torpedoes, or turn into, because away would have been put us into more danger. And really, we are just dodging torpedoes right now. They are really far away, That destroyer is also miles away. I will speed up once again. I want to bring the distance in a little bit closer. From a distance, that looked like it was that it had a flash fire on it. Turn into these torpedoes just a little bit. There's one right there. I will say I'm very disappointed in our torpedo detection. I would have thought that our torpedo detection would be a little bit better. Maybe we don't have the proper bridges for torpedo detection, but with the sonar, it feels like I have to use my eyes a lot more than in-game cues. Alright, so the Duke of Edinburgh, we are blasting away at it. As I've said this before, our ships, our cruisers are better than their well, our heavy cruisers are better than their heavy cruisers. Our light cruisers, they're squishy. I made them probably a little bit too historically accurate. They do suffer quite substantially, but that's how Italian light cruisers were. I believe they lost 11 of 12 in the war. Looks like our light cruisers are starting to join in, and their ship is just taking a beating. Most of what they're firing at us are partial pens. We are major hit after major hit. Their cruiser has sunk, so now it's down to 2 light cruisers and a destroyer. That destroyer looks like it is fleeing the battlefield. I don't know what my destroyers are doing. Let's turn them off of avoid. The screening, when you screen and you put them on torpedo avoidance, they seem to just go everywhere, so I'm not entirely sure. One of our ships looks like it took a torpedo. One of our light cruisers has a lot of damage to it. So even though they were miles away from the battlefield and on torpedo evasion, looks like they failed to evade the torpedo. What exactly are the specifications of their ships? A very light armor, but that makes sense for a light cruiser. And what kind of technology? Corrupt 4? I would imagine they would have had 5 by this point. Otherwise, it's okay. I have to give it to the developers. I think they've done a better job of AI design. It's still not perfect, but I don't think it'll ever be. But it's a lot better than it used to be. You used to see some just absolutely atrocious designs. I mean, you look at that too. No longitudinal weight offset, no transverse weight offset. Pitch and roll is low. These are well put together light cruisers, and it's no wonder, wow, we're getting pummeled here. I might need to move away into... I might need the help of my other cruisers. Wow, those light cruisers just put out a ton of fire. We are really low on HE. Yeah, I might need to change everything to stereoscopic, well, cruisers and up. What do they have for range finding? They're stereoscopic. Maybe I'll just change everything to stereoscopic. Because it seems like the long-range duels with the Gen 2 radar is a lot better than getting up close and brawling. I mean, our ship just took an absolute beating. We lost a turret, we lost secondary guns. That was very brutal from 2 little light cruisers against our heavy cruiser. And they have a 3.1 and a 2.1. That one has no ammo left. We must have blown most of its secondaries out. Looks like they do have some torpedo tubes left. Not much. This one's out of torpedoes, but that one has another spread that it can fire. Where's our other light cruiser? I feel like that is the opposite of following. One thing I do wish that they would add to this game are proper formations. And what I mean by that is the ability for my cruisers. Let's say I have... No, I don't want you changing your position. No, what? Why did you... Yeah, this is a problem that they have with the game. And this actually ruins things really badly. No, 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 stop it. Okay. I don't want the formation to change like that. I need more control over the ships. These, for some reason, went to battle line as opposed to screen. So I will just have these follow the ship. That just absolutely destroyed my formation. And it's something that I've seen many other YouTubers complain about. Keep my formation intact. And that goes along with my discussion of how I want formations to work. Let's say I had 2 battleships, 3 cruisers, and 2 destroyers. I want that formation where the battle cruisers are screened by the cruisers, which are screened by the destroyers. So it would be nice if I had 2 battleships in line. Oh boy. Where are these torpedoes? I need to turn into the middle of these torpedoes. That cruiser, oh my gosh. It's on torpedo evasion, and basically it just got lucky. Being said, I want my port side facing the enemy because my starboard is absolutely crippled. Yeah, so as I was saying, it would be nice to have something where I have a couple ships in a line, and then the other ships are properly spaced out in a formation. Otherwise, the only thing you can do in this game is really create these big World War I battle lines, and that's fine for early years, but that's not how ship progression worked in World War II. In World War II, you stopped doing these massive, antiquated battle lines. I mean, in World War I, you definitely had that. All you have to do is look at the Battle of Jutland and see how the Germans and the British fought each other. They basically just sat in big Age of Sail lines and tried to cross the enemy's teeth. Alright. Those pesky light cruisers are out. Man, I'm actually very impressed with how the AI built their light cruisers. I would like to see if we can engage the Moresby. The poor Bolzano has taken a beating. It's nice of the Alberico de Barbiano to join. Yeah, torpedo hit, even though it was on torpedo evasion. I'm not sure torpedo evasion is that great. Really, I just need to get better at the game and learn how to control multiple battle lines at once. But as I've said in a previous episode, I'm rusty on this game, and it definitely shows my torpedo evasion is terrible, and I used to be able to control multiple battle lines at once, but something I will have to work into. So we are struggling to catch up. It's really actually getting away, so we're just going to end this battle. So Balzano, pretty good main gun accuracy, great secondary accuracy. The Southampton, 28% on its secondary accuracy, so I think it really shredded. Yeah, I mean, the Balzano didn't really take any major hits, but all those partial pens, they just lit our ship on fire, basically. I did send out Wario and Bowser into the Western Mediterranean to try to engage their task force of the St. George and Edinburgh, and it worked. So we will probably have to hunt them down. They will probably flee from this battle, but we have a major speed advantage, and I'm wondering if they're out of fuel because they've been sitting in the Western Mediterranean for a while. I've been blocking off their transport lines to the Western Mediterranean with one of my task forces, and then I've been blocking the Port Said with my other major task force, so be interesting to see. Well, we are already in range. Let's just have you screen him, and all ahead full it is. Let's go to ×5 speed. Bowser is in the lead. They have not turned tail and run yet, but it looks like they are preparing to do so. However, they are probably too late. They are within 20 kilometers. Yeah, I need to change my battle cruisers over to stereoscopic because they have the range to do so. About, I would say 15,000 kilometers is sort of the sweet spot for them. As you move up into 12% accuracy, where 17,500 is 7.5% accuracy. And just like that, we moved into 15,000 kilometers and had major hits on their warship. So I think stereoscopic is probably the way to go on my battle cruisers. Probably a mistake on my part. I was probably thinking 1910s, 1920s combat where you don't have your radar. That's generally where I start my campaigns, and in that you definitely brawl a lot closer, and I like the coincidence for that. Make sure... Oh, no, you went into the torpedoes! That was the dumbest torpedo evasion I've ever seen. Wow, he went into the torpedoes. I should have taken a void off. That was awful. He literally turned straight into the torpedoes. That was a massive hit. Pieces blowing off of the destroyer, and it should go down. So other than the absolute absurdity of the AI on Wario turning into torpedoes, this was just as you expect. Yeesh, they just have insane spreads. I mean, look how many torpedoes that is just on that cruiser, and then on this destroyer. I would like a little bit more realism when it comes to enemy torpedoes. I understand that's kind of the only thing the AI has going for it, but it would be nice if they dropped a bunch of torpedoes, corrected how they design... I was a little bit afraid there that I lost control of the ship on the end battle, and it looked like those torpedoes were going to hit the prow of my ship. Unrest has become uncontrollably high in the British Empire, and Arthur Beatty has been relieved of duty and expelled from the country. I always forget that they expel them from the country. So not only is it bad to be a useless admiral, but you become excommunicated, like an ancient society. So that's pretty terrible. And I'm assuming that means that peace didn't go through? This is stupid. It's just going to flee. Ah, gosh. I want to auto-resolve this. I'm going to auto-resolve it for science. If I take damage here, auto-resolve's cursed. Absolutely. Light damage. Okay. I don't know how it got away with light damage. Republic of China takes mine hits. Lots of transports lost for the British Empire. And Qatar, Denmark. We gain control of Malta. That's great because we're down to a 58%, even though we added more ship tonnage. It went all the way down to a 58%. So I'm assuming that the peace treaty failed. That's a little worrying. I might need to see if I can send a naval task force against northern Egypt. I'm not sure here. So they came from Catania. Let's move them back. And let's move this task force of everything into Alexandria. And let's see if we can do a naval invasion of Alexandria and see if that does anything to our chances. Northern Egypt. Oh boy. Oh, that's tempting though. Go after Gibraltar instead. Let's do that. We can change our direction here and move into Gibraltar and just move right there. And then this battle cruiser task force over here won't be needed. Of course, I can't click on it because the French are in the way. And what I will do is I will move this task force over here and move our small little itty-bitty task force that has been mauled back to Rhodes. And is that the English? What? That's not their flag. Looks more like New Zealand than Great Britain. Like if they had that, that makes sense for their navy. But that's a weird flag to put out for the English. Is that because their government was overthrown? Was it overthrown by the Australians? That would be hilarious. But no, that's not what happened. Okay. I am concerned about this. I don't want to lose Tobruk or Benghazi, and I don't really know what to do here. We have so few forces over here. Can we send? We have tons of transport lanes. The English aren't affecting us in the Mediterranean. We should be able to send more troops, but that's a problem. So we shall see. I will update you on the next turn. Alright, it is April 1936. We will test the fate of the auto-resolve gods once more because I don't want to put myself through this misery. And light damage to the Moresby once again. Fleet superiority, we are launching a naval invasion against Gibraltar. So we will see how this goes. June 1936, and a submarine tried to slip past our blockade of Gibraltar. Hopefully our destroyers and cruisers will sink it. Only light damage, so I am becoming increasingly worried, though, about this invasion by the English, and our invasion of Gibraltar went from nearly 50% down to, what would that be? Down to 24% because the English are sending more ships. Somehow they're making it past our blockade. Very frustrating. We do have a secondary blockade, but I didn't think you could push past ships like that. Anyways, we do have 2 convoy battles. Hopefully... Oh no, their ship's better than ours. Tons of defects on their ships, though. Well, let's try this. Let's not underestimate them. If they run away and it's a ghost battle, I will let them run away because we found out that their light cruisers are superior to our light cruisers. Alright, so that was indeed a ghost battle. Their ship had a lucky parting hit from very long distance, so some very, very minor damage to my ship, but unfortunately they attacked our convoy and ran away. So let's see what is here. This is going to be the same crap. I'm going to chance the auto-resolve gods here. We both took heavy damage. I'm fine with that. That's a lot more interesting than me spending all this time either moving my ship away or whatever. Once again, really wish they would fix that. But that is it for June 1936. Alrighty, we have finally unlocked Mark IV 15-inch guns. That was the final piece for our Littorio class battleship. So July 1936, I will start designing those battleships. We are now allies with Finland, which that'll probably make Russia happy. And a couple other random things happening across the world. I feel like we are going to lose. We're going to lose this invasion over here. There is a battle over here. Oh man. I'm reconsidering our light cruisers a lot now because they are just really struggling. I might just let's try to fight this. It'll probably be a ghost battle. The enemy doesn't seem to want to fight, even though their light cruisers are superior to ours. But we'll just, for the giggles, try this out. Northwest. There's the radar ping. And we're already at times 30, so that's, you know, a great sign that this battle won't happen. We've remained at times 30 for 8 minutes into the battle, so that just tells me that the enemy is not engaging us. 10 minutes, yeah, so they're not wanting to fight. Unfortunate, so we will just hit retreat and make sure that when we hit the 30-minute mark that we can end the battle. Alright, after much fiddling around with the builder, this is about the best I can do for the Littorio class battleship while making it fairly historically accurate. I'm not exactly happy with it. Its pitch and roll are way too high for my liking. But I've tried making it longer. I've increased the beam to its maximum. Just that pitch and roll is pretty horrific. I still feel like they punish you greatly in this game on pitch and roll, and I would love to find a better way to deal with it. But once again, I feel like making the ships longer would greatly help with that. The ship is a little too short for the Littorio, but if I make it longer, the ship ends up being like 68,000, and the pitch and roll is actually just as worse. So not really sure what to do there. But we have our 3 turrets of 15-inch guns. They are the Mark IVs. We have 2 turrets of these 6.6-inch guns, or I should say 4 turrets of these 6.6-inch guns. These are not as historically accurate. I have 5 turrets or 10 turrets of 4.7-inch guns, but they're double turrets. I believe Littorio only had single turrets there. I didn't add any of the other secondary weapons. Even these secondaries are probably useless and detract from the value of the ship, but I do like to make the ships look fairly pretty. Speaking of fairly pretty, this is not pretty, but this is sort of how it looked historically. You had the one funnel on the bridge and then another funnel down low, but they don't have all the extra bits. For the funnel would be nice if there was sort of like a funnel encasing you could make in the game. I feel like that would add a lot. Otherwise, the bridges actually look fairly correct, which I like. This is a little too far back for my liking, but I have a little tiny bit of a four-way offset, and I give up. We're going to sit with 0.3. I can't make it any better, and as I said, the pitch and roll, not my favorite, but I feel like it's pretty good. It is a major upgrade from our Conte de Cavour class battleship, and I think it's actually cheaper, which is pretty great. Maybe when we unlock modern armor, I can refit it and maybe fix this pitch and roll a little bit, but highly doubt it. And just like that, we have our 4 battleships building and renamed to the Littorio, Vittorio Veneto, Roma, and Imperio, which are the 4 names of the Littorio class battleships. The Imperio, I don't believe, was ever completed, but the other ones, where we will select their port, and they will be placed in 2 different task forces. So, Gaeta and Taranto. And if we look at our finances, well, we're at war, so still really good, and we need to work on a larger port again. Anyways, that is it for this turn. We'll see what the next turn brings. September 1936, and this is a major surprise to me as we were down to an 18% chance of success, but Italy has gained control of Gibraltar. However, I feel like I will be losing Cyrenaica, and that means Tobruk and Benghazi along with it, as the English are in the 95 percentile territory. So one gain for another. However, Gibraltar is a major stepping stone. Controlling the Strait of Gibraltar is absolutely huge. These little cruisers really mean nothing to me. I wonder if I can push my fleet. Yep, can push my fleet to the other side of the strait, which is where I want it to be. As far as over here, I don't really think there's anything I can do about that, and that is a problem. I could try to invade Egypt, but they're going to take this, and that's a shame. I don't really have anything I can do. So once again, nothing really crazy. Even though England is at war with us, they're not really doing anything. They're just sailing around the world, and the Americans have a submarine in the central Mediterranean. That's rather interesting. November of 1936, England by this point has taken Cyrenaica, unfortunately, and the English are sending submarine strikes against us, and not too much else. Sink 3 of their subs, light damage, 1 of our destroyers, light damage, and this keeps happening. What's weird is I have 2 battle cruisers, 2 battleships, probably about 6 regular cruisers, and a bunch of destroyers in this area around Gibraltar, and I can't seem to do anything about this cruiser. This is the second one in a row. It says we don't have enough warships to defend Gibraltar, but that's absolutely nonsense, so I don't really know what's going on here. I'm taking massive transport losses because of it. And to show what's happening, if you look, this is the Orlando right here, and I have I have 4 battle cruisers in this area. I have everything that should be able to take care of this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move everything except my 2... No. I'm going to move everything into Gibraltar, see if that does anything, And over here, this naval invasion is not going to work. I just did it for the giggles. I'm going to lose a lot of men because I screwed that up, so hopefully that doesn't mess us up too bad. I was hoping by this point that England would have sued for peace, but this is a problem here. Alright, I've been trying to hunt down these cruisers for quite some time, and finally our battle cruisers have caught up to Antrim, and we will try to hunt down this cruiser. I'll probably... Our destroyers and light cruisers, or heavy cruisers, don't have the speed, so I won't really care about them. However, our battle cruisers is a completely different story. They have the speed to catch this ship and hopefully take it out. It is turning tail and running. This is their super torpedo, super front heavy cruiser. Very interesting design. Bristling with secondary guns too. But hopefully we can blat it. I don't need these ships adding their guns to the fire and just creating more splash confusion, even though we have radar and that's greatly mitigated. I wish we could times 10, times 30 a chase, because they are pretty far away. And they are going all ahead full. But we should be catching up to them. We are much, much faster than them. While this very riveting chase is going on, a couple things I've discussed that I would absolutely love for them to implement into the game. It's really hard to chase down enemy cruisers that are just sitting around in your waters. I wish you had some sort of hunt option in your task force to hunt enemy ships that are in your waters. I mean, that is a thing that happened in World War II, especially the British trying to hunt the Scharnhorst and the Gneisenau in the Atlantic. They did it off the coast of Brazil for, I believe it was the Admiral Hipper or one of those pocket battleships that the Germans had, the cruisers with the 10-inch guns on them. We did land a single hit on their cruiser. It's interesting that our ships think this is a battle cruiser, probably just because of how many guns it has. There are... I mean, this is a 12-gun cruiser, pretty hefty, and then along with all of those torpedoes, quite absurd actually. It is, I believe, just shy of 17,000 tons, but our battle cruisers should make quick work of this once they start landing some hits. As I said, we did land one that looks to have been a lucky hit. We only have, well, we're moving up to 5.6.3. So our aiming accuracy is going up quite steadily. That's this progression bar over here. The more you fire at the enemy, the better it becomes. If you have any maneuvers, or the enemy has maneuvers, it affects this. Like, it just went down, I'm not sure why. But unfortunately, the game continues to have the enemy AI flee all the time, so it makes a lot of the battles this, where you're chasing down the enemy. This is one of the number one things I wish they would change in the game, is AI behavior. So the Waluigi and the Yoshi, they are moving at 37.2 knots. I wonder why they're not going 38. Probably some sort of limitation in the coding here. We are within 17 kilometers. Once that gets down to 15, I expect our guns to just absolutely pummel the cruiser, Antrim. If you look at what the Antrim has, it has tons of 1.5-inch guns on it, and all the torpedo tubes you could ever imagine, along with a boatload of 7-inch guns. We've already started to wreck it. We aren't even in that 15-kilometer bracket yet, and our guns are already taking chunks out of the Antrim. Antrim is flooding badly. Overpen caused another flood. More overpens. I'm not opposed to overpenning the enemy because it does cause flooding hits. Obviously, it's nice to see giant penetrations of 2,000 plus or causing flash fires, but the ship is listing heavily. It is taking on tons of water. I do find it odd that the flooding doesn't continue, because a ship that's listing this bad, the flooding should really continue at a small percentage. I don't care how good your damage control team is, that is major flooding. That was a big hit right there. Lots of ricochets, but she is not going to make it into battle. No, we want to take this ship out. We are not ending the battle. Thank you, game. We've chased her down this long. We are within 10 kilometers. Now her engine room is flooded. Or is taking on water, I should say. So her speed... Well, so it says 32. That must be her max speed that she can do. Because there's no way she's moving 32.8 knots at this speed. Oh, it continued just a little bit. Alright, so there's one cruiser problem dealt with. We still have these cruisers in here, which for some reason we just can't track down. I would like this battle cruiser group to move out just a little bit. I can't move my group out of port because of this cruiser. This is one of those things in the game that is incredibly frustrating. Let me engage this fleet. I have 2 battleships. I mean, one's repairing, but I just want to engage this fleet. It's you need some sort of hunt the enemy down, because I want to move that big fleet over here to this naval invasion. It's not going to happen, so we're going to lose this one. I am going to continue auto-resolving these because the enemy just flees and it's not fun. And we seem to be winning them. So that's it for February of 1937. March of 1937, we have a submarine attack on one of our main fleets. Auto-resolve nearly sinks all of their submarines. This is what I want. Port defense against a task force. Our battleship Duel and a destroyer against 2 of their cruisers and a light cruiser. So I will fight this. Hopefully they don't retreat. We're not in range, so that's always a bad sign right off the bat. Let's put it on ×10. See what the enemy fleet is doing. They are turning tail and running. Or are they? They're the ones that attacked our port. Nope, they are actually engaging. Maybe. I would like to shift slightly. How far are we? We are basically within their torpedo range. And I need to keep that in mind. We are already causing massive damage to them. That is the power of Wow, that is a giant crater in this ship. That's the power of radar this late in the game. Your long-range accuracy is amazing. Also, the stereoscopic rangefinders really help with this long-range firefighting, torpedo detonation. This seems like a good range band within about 20 kilometers. That gives us, well, only a 3.1% accuracy chance. Our best is at 12.5, but we seem to be doing fairly fine and keeps us a little bit safe against their torpedoes. I imagine they are launching them, but that ship is now gone. Let's level out a little bit over here. Already a massive hit. We hit their bridge. That's absolutely crippling for a ship. Their accuracy plummets. Not that I'm afraid of them. That sounded like torpedoes hit the water. So I am going to change my course just a little. Flash fire on their destroyer. Probably doesn't carry enough ammunition for that flash fire to matter greatly, but definitely something I like to see. That ship is being I mean, it disintegrated. I'm amazed that they didn't turn tail and run. I'm really happy that they didn't, because this task force has been driving me insane. There's those torpedoes. One there. I don't see any others in the water. Hopefully our destroyer... Oh, there was one. Did not pick that up. Hopefully our destroyer isn't hit by any torpedoes. And there's a big hit there. I think we need to turn into the enemy. They have a rudder hit and they are trying to flee. But I would say it's a little too late to flee. And there she sinks. There's a torpedo near my battleship. But pretty one-sided. We took 25 damage. 31% main gun accuracy is fantastic. We caused 3 ammo detonations. That's what that one ship looked like. So we will call this episode here. It is March 1937. We are still at war with the English. They have not tried to sue for peace. We took Gibraltar from them, but they took Cyrenaica from us. I would like to take it back, so maybe in the near future we can do a naval invasion of Tobruk or Benghazi. I'm amazed they haven't invaded Mogadishu or Ethiopia, any of that area, Eritrea. I would like northern Egypt eventually. It has oil, but probably not feasible. Anyways, let me know what you guys think about this one, and I will see you soon. So, as always, guys, until next time. If you enjoyed this content and would like to see more, please like, subscribe, and comment below.